MG PA 2-seat trials 1934. By the 1930s, MG had come a long way from its roots as an offshoot of Morris Motors, and cemented a place as an innovative producer of sporting road and competition cars. Its competition name was forged in the World Trials, with Mark founder Cecil Kimber famously taking a gold medal on the Motorcycling Club's 1923 Land's End trial, but by the new decade its primary target was the racetrack. Back on the road, its diminutive M-Type midget, which had first appeared in 1928, had been an absolute game changer. Small, lightweight and based on pre-existing Morris Empire components, it brought affordable sports cars to an entirely new audience. When the legend finally bowed out, it was replaced by the 1934 P-Type. The new model featured a sturdier steel ladder-type chassis and the same steel body on a wooden body shell-type construction, but with power now at a heady 36 bhp, up from its predecessor's 20 bhp. With just 711 kilograms to propel, the 847cc engine propelled it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 23 seconds, and it retained the M-Type's ultra-maneuverability. Production lasted just 2 years before the PBD Type, it would subsequently be known as the PA, replaced it. However, such were its abilities that the famed Musketeers team would later run them when corporate shenanigans put the kibosh on Kimber's racetrack activities and focus returned to trialing. The previous owner rebuilt this lovely little PA midget during the years 2007 and 2014, as a dedicated two-seater trials competition car. You'll find receipts for around $16K in the history file, which attest to the attention to detail it received during the build. These include, but are not limited to, a full new ash frame and steel panels by Enrique Lenners, a Ken Robinson rebuilt engine, with fresh cylinder block, cylinder head, rocker gear and camshaft, and Phoenix crank and rods with Vinolia pistons, an upgraded clutch, and a stronger Morris differential unit. Vendor Andrew bought this MG PA in July of last year. I wanted the mechanicals and chassis, as it was my intention to take the body off and build a single-seater supercharged race car, he explains. There was only one minor fly in the ointment of said plan. When I started using it, to go to the beach and stuff like that, I quickly realized that it was just too good to break up and build what I wanted. With a brand new ash frame and a fresh all-steel body, it just seemed ridiculous to do so. That stay of execution is offset by the fact that it was never Andrew's intention to use the car as is. I wasn't going to do trialing. I live in the East and most trialing takes place in the West. It will quite happily continue sit in my garage over winter, but it won't really get used. I would much rather someone buy it and the car get driven. His desire to see that happen is coupled with the fact that it's absolutely ready for that. It's structurally and mechanically spot on, he says. There's very little that'll make you prouder to be British than the front profile of an MG PA midget. Its positively cambered, bluff radiator fronted and stiff upper limped visage is just so gloriously endearing. In fact, you can apply that to any view of the car. Our photographer returned from snapping it absolutely beaming about both the driving experience, more on that later, and the warm-hearted reception that the car received by all and sundry. It's not concours, but the paintwork is smart for a trials car, states Andrew. While it wouldn't stand its ground in a parade of immaculately turned out PAs, it does appeal as a car you aren't afraid to use, scratch or compete in. That means nice smart black over green paint, with a few marks here and there, such as the worn area where the driver's elbow has rested, bright work that's generally free from pitting and matching powder-coated and painted wire wheels. The stainless steel exhaust system is near side mounted and runs just under the passenger door. Of course, anyone in or around the vintage, classic and modern classic game knows that old metal can be easily made shiny, so it's what's underneath this car that's most important, and that fresh ash frame and newly painted chassis both ensure that it has sag-free doors and an absolutely solid structure on which its corrosion-free panels hang. The PA's competition focus is clear from various addenda that include a bonnet strap, fuel tank mounted twin spare tires, rear and front toe loops and front mounted timing marker. To top things off, it has a quirky and very individual copper wired manual water system, which isn't actually part of the cooling system, that also acts as a radiator mascot, Glorious. That competition focus continues inside. The dashboard is well away from being original, admits Andrew. As it has that big rev counter, which makes it all in the wrong place for a PA. It does however make it perfect for competition, and it's been marked accordingly with 1,700 revolutions per minute in third and 1,200 revolutions per minute in fourth gears, both producing 30 miles per hour. The speedometer, PA, who needs one of those, is currently disconnected. The interior, including the seats, was retrimmed during the rebuild, and as can be seen in the photo gallery below, it remains in fine fettle. There's also a full-length double-deck tie cover, but no usable hood frame or side screens. Again, PA, who needs those, although one of the originals is present and could be used as a template. You'll also find a fire extinguisher mounted in the passenger footwell. Driving-wise, the steering is good and there's a lot of double declutching, says Andrew. But once you've mastered the car, it's great fun. It can keep up with traffic on 40 to 50 miles per hour roads with no issue. Once you get to 60 miles per hour odd, it'll weave a little, and third and fourth gears are pretty much the only ones that you're going to use. A quick look underneath the bonnet reveals that it has quite a few mechanical additions, which improve both its daily reliability and trials competitiveness. These include a 009 electronic distributor, the original is included, but requires rebuilding, and a manually controlled electric cooling fan. While further digging around will also reveal an auxiliary facet fuel pump. It's certainly worth getting down and having a look underneath, as this is where this car scores very heavily. There, you'll find it to be a picture of absolute health. It's also worth knowing that the brakes were relined and the steering overhauled during the rebuild.